Didn't. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining the Coffee with Colleen. We appreciate you being here. And this morning, I have my partner in crime, the other Colleen Robinson, here to join us today to talk about the wonderful work that Habitat for Humanity of Clallam County has been doing on our behalf, helping our community members. Before I have Colleen take it away, I'd ask that you put your Zoom on mute so we don't inadvertently hear any background noise. And if you have any questions, we love to hear them, but please either raise your hand and I'll call on you, or you can put your question in the chat and I'll ask it on your behalf. So with that, Colleen, thank you for joining us. And Colleen she is one of my 21 bosses. Thank you for your volunteerism in that regard as well, Colleen. And please share with us the fabulous things that have been happening with Habitat for Humanity.
Happy to do so. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. There are lots of things happening at Habitat. I'm not sure, am I in presenter mode or are you seeing my notes and everything?
We see your notes.
Oh, great. Well, I guess you could read my notes if you wanted to. If I do just the slideshow, it's not letting me see my notes, which could be disastrous because I might forget a really important high point. So I want to share with you that there are 25 affiliates in Washington State, Habitat for Humanity affiliates. There are 1,000 across the country, and we are in 70 countries around the world working on housing solutions. One of the biggest myths of Habitat is that Jimmy Carter was our founder. He was not our founder, but he is our most popular volunteer and a Habitat humanitarian. So we really appreciate the Carters for the work that they do to support Habitat. Habitat Clallam County was established in 1991. We have built 38 new homes and helped hundreds of families through our repair and aging in place program. And we are just grateful to have the opportunity to expand our work from new construction to also aging in place and repairs. So my friend Colleen McAleer loves data. So I have some data slides in here that are pretty dense, and I'm not going to read everything, but I think it's important to share. And I know that this PowerPoint will be uploaded to the EDC website later, and you can really pour over the slides. But this one was really telling. I serve on what's called Habitat for Humanity International U.S. Council. 24 affiliate leaders from across the country come together 3 times a year and discuss with Habitat International, the mothership as we like to call it, policies, procedures, things that HFHI thinks might be a good idea, and we give them the perspective from the affiliate network. I am one of 4 rural affiliate representatives on that council. And so I feel grateful to have a seat at the table, peek behind the curtain. And I was just there last week, and some of this data is hot off the press from that meeting. So homes under 300,000 make up only 13% of all new home sales. As of March 2022, you can see the comparison to 40% in 2020 and 80% in 2002. So how do people get into a home when we're not really building entry-level or starter homes? Again, pretty dense, lots of information on here, but rent burdens are much greater at the lower income levels. Subsidized units, most needed at the lower end of the income spectrum. And there are many vacancies at rent levels affordable to moderate income households than to very low income households. So things that are happening right now are really impacting people that are at the lower end of the income levels. Anything on here pop out? Yeah.
Yeah. So in Clallam County, though, because our median income is relatively low compared to the median price of a house, where in other communities it's a bit higher and the price of the home is lower. Tim and Dalton has done some work on, even for somebody with median income household can't afford a can't afford an entry level house in Clallam County.
Yes, yes, we are definitely at the lower end of that spectrum in being able to house our workforce. This is targeted programs that are benefiting families, but you see the lower income targeted versus the moderate to middle income targeted, wealth building, stability, equity. It's just a burden, a gap that continues to grow to a chasm. And I'm not 100% sure what the solution is going to be for that. Anything on here pop out at anybody that they wanted to ask any questions? So these are all national statistics and national information, not Washington State and certainly not Clallam County. So the bottom line, 7.1 million very low income unsubsidized renters in the United States are spending more than half of their income on housing. So to bring it to a Washington State level, this 1 in 7 households is spending more than half of their household income on housing, which means they have to make really difficult decisions on medication, medical needs, food, transportation, if they want to keep up with their rent or whatever payments that they're making. This gives you a little bit more, so $31.33 an hour wage needed to afford market rate rent for a 2-bedroom home in Washington, working 40 hours per week. And minimum wage at this time, well, this was 2022 data, sorry, 14.49, which we know it's up over 15 now. So really some staggering numbers here, even in Washington State. I'm not sure how many people are on the call, but however many, 1 in 7 is paying more than 50% of their income. So there's a lot of discussion about affordable housing. What is the definition of affordable housing? What does affordable housing mean? So I'd like to share a couple of definitions. And this is the one from HUD. And what I want you to notice is rent and purchases or other means that cost for housing should be 30% or less of the household income. That is kind of the benchmark. You don't want to be paying more than 30% of your household income on just your housing in order for you to maintain a healthy budget and be able to sustain your family. So that's what is considered affordable housing. Workforce housing is a little bit different. It's serving families closer to 60 to 80% of the area median income. And this slide in particular shows actual businesses here locally where our Habitat families work. Habitat homeowners are our workforce, and these are the different places that they're employed here in our community. So it's really important that we continue the work that we're doing, and we're really grateful to the local community for hiring and employing our workforce so that they can afford to buy a house.
Real quick, so that workforce housing, that's the Habitat for Humanity definition of workforce housing, because the state refers to it as up to 120% of AMI.
I pulled that definition off of the internet, and I guess depending on where you Google and where you look, that 60 to 80%. AMI was a huge conversation at our U.S. Council meeting last week.
And that's area median income. Sorry, everybody.
Thanks.
Those of you that don't live in the HUD housing world. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of affiliates, including the Seattle area, are having to go up to 120% of AMI to qualify families for a Habitat home in Seattle, which is a mission drift for Habitat. And there was a lot of discussion around how do we continue to serve and continue to not put ourselves out of business because we're paying so much more to build and then not recouping that money because we're having to keep it at 30%. When they qualify for a Habitat home, the income is at 30%.
Mhm.
I mean, the payment is at 30%.
It's just gotten so expensive to build, and those prices have gone up just so much faster
Mm,
than what people are making. So again, there's that skewed level of, you would think 100% of area median income could afford the average or median income price home, but that's not the case at all. And we are, of, of the 39 counties in Washington state, we are one of the top 5 most expensive counties. It changes every quarter. University of Washington does a analysis on a quarterly basis, but we're typically one of the top 5 most expensive counties when you look at what is the area median income compared to what's the price of the home. And so that's something that we've been talking to the state about, because they always use area median income and a percentage of that to qualify for a bunch of these subsidized housing programs. But so very often what that means is if you have a job, you you know you make a little bit too much and you don't qualify. So anyway,
right.
it's kind of confusing, but this is, I think,
Yeah.
what Colleen's trying to get to here.
Right. So attainable housing was a term that I learned when I joined the Clallam County Housing Solutions team. This is where that 120% comes in. But what I want you to realize about these 3 different definitions that I gave is you really shouldn't be paying more than 30% of your household income on your housing. And so I would say, as differing as these definitions can be, depending on where you Google and where you look it up, the bottom line is really for a healthy budget, like I said, you don't want to pay more than 30%. So I know the EDC is wonderful at advocating on the national level, the local level, the state level. Um, Advocacy for affordable home ownership is essential for Habitat to continue our work. Um, we work to influence policies and systems focused on supply, preservation, access to credit, zoning, land use, with the support of Habitat International. We go every February back to Washington, D.C., Habitat on the Hill. Last year, we had over 425 Habitat people with these lovely scarves marching all over the Capitol and visiting with our elected officials. So, what does Habitat do exactly? Well, we do a lot of things. um, Under one roof. This is the staff, which has changed. I was looking at this picture last night and went, "Oh, we have some new people. I need to take a new staff picture," but that's okay. It takes staff to make it happen. 2/3 of these people are actually work in the 2 stores. And then we have 2 dedicated construction staff. One is an AmeriCorps. He was on the very first slide, Aiden Kearns, and he is here from New York City and came all the way west. He hadn't been any further west than Chicago and headed out here, and he's with us until September, learning all things housing and building. So, really excited to be part of that program. We're retail stores, builder, new construction, home repairs, social service, mortgage lender, affordable housing, volunteer engagement, developer, fundraiser, impact agency, and workforce training. So we do a lot of things for being a nonprofit. There's a lot of streams of business. Speaking of which, we have 2 lovely Habitat stores. The one in Port Angeles is about 16 years old and a must go to for many people. I work a couple days a week in PA and a couple days a week in Squim, and I see the same people in here all the time, every week, sometimes every day in a week, looking for just the right thing. And of course, all of that money goes towards our programs. But secondly, we're keeping things out of the landfill. We're giving people an opportunity to donate building materials, appliances, furniture, and those kinds of things, that we're keeping things out of the landfill, which is really important. So I mentioned earlier, we do a repair program. City of Port Angeles awarded Habitat Clallam $100,000 of ARPA funding to repair low and fixed income homeowners' homes. I think we can all agree we're not going to build our way out of this housing crisis. We're going to have to preserve the aging housing stock that we have. We have elderly people living in homes that they're not either physically capable to make those repairs or financially able. So we fund through grants that we receive, United Way, Albert Howler, Ben Phillips. I write grants for our repair program, so we are able to help these elderly stay in their homes and preserve that housing, because if it deteriorates to a certain point and the people pass away, it's just a tear down. Then you got everything going in the landfill, then you got to pay to build a brand new house. And it's just not a very efficient cycle. So, if we can help these families repair their home and sustain their homes while they're in them and for future families, that's really a better way to go. And our repair program has just been booming. So, Squim, we partner with City of Squim for a Rally in the Alley program. I saw Matt was on here. This has been really successful. A couple times a year, we bring dumpsters to the community. The city lets people know in the newsletter. We do press releases and Facebook, and people line up on a Saturday morning, and we fill some pretty big dumpsters in about 2 hours. And the Interact kids from Interact students from Squim High School are always there, along with Troop 90 and Squim Sunrise Rotary. And it sounds silly, but it's really a fun 2 hours on a Saturday morning. And you never know what treasures. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And those kids go through that stuff. They actually found a chandelier, the last one that we did, that got used in the Adams Family um, play at Squim High School during irrigation festival. So they were like, "Can we use this? We need a chandelier." So um, really fun, and helps keep our alleys and gives people an opportunity to get rid of stuff and not let it pile in their yards, their alley, their front yard. So really important. Workforce training, as I mentioned, is something else that we do. Back in 2020 or 2019, we had our first workforce training class in partnership with Peninsula College. And then, as we all know, 2020 COVID hit, and everything changed. So we continued our class because our then construction manager, Paul Arndt, had a teaching degree. And we continued to teach our class with our partners, Hartnagel's, Angelus Millworks. They give tools to every student. So they get the harness, they get the hard hat, all the safety tools and basic tools, and then they go about 6 weeks for 2 days a week and learn all different stages of construction. And what we want to do is empower those young people, which is funny because not all of them are young people. We've had people sign up between 18 and 62 years old to take this class. To go out and be employed as a newbie with at least a little bit of working knowledge of how the tools work and what it's like to build a house from the foundation up. So that program's been successful. We received a grant from the Port of Port Angeles that we are going to be using this year in order to do a bigger class on a project that's coming up that I'll talk about in a little bit. So, how to qualify is one of the biggest questions. What do I need to do to qualify for a Habitat home? And really, the three majors are an ability to pay an affordable mortgage. That's the second biggest myth about Habitat. We do not give the houses away. They pay a mortgage. It goes into the revolving fund for humanity so we can build the next houses. They have to have a need. So what does a need mean? Well, they could be in substandard housing, mold, infestation, rodents, whatever. or they could be cost burdened. People who are paying 50% of their household income can apply. That is a need. And then also families that are doubling up. We had one family, four kids, a mom and a dad living with her parents. So let's see, that was six, seven, eight people in a two-bedroom, one bath house.
Mm.
And so we were able to provide a habitat home for them, and they're in our Maloney Heights community. And then you have to be willing to partner, and that partnership comes out in the way of sweat equity. So it's 250 hours for each person 18 or older in the household. 100 has to be on construction. 50 can be donated by friends or family. So if a partner family has little kids and someone at the church says, I'll watch your kids on Saturday so you can go and get your sweat equity, those hours can be donated. And then the last 100 hours is typically our partner families have been generationally renters, and we want to set them up for success. So they take a financial class, they take a first time home buyers class, homeowners maintenance class, HOA class. So we want to set them up for success to realize that when the hot water heater goes out, you don't get to call the landlord and say, hey, my hot water heater went out. You are the landlord, and you need to be prepared for those inevitable things that will happen as a homeowner. That other 100 hours can either be construction, or also we qualify those classes that they take. The shared appreciation, when a family moves in, the first 5 years, if they choose to move on for whatever reason, for work reasons, for could be any number of things, they come to us. We take the house back. It's as though they were renters. We refurbish it and we qualify another family. Once they get to year 6, they start to earn their shared appreciation or equity. And so if they sell the house in year 6, 93% comes to Habitat, and they get the difference until 20 years. They're fully vested in their house. And the purpose of this is to honor the donors, the federal money, the state money that we are given to keep this house affordable as long as we possibly can. We want it to stay in the affordable realm for our communities. And it's really this shared equity or shared appreciation. Most all of our families stay in. We here in Clallam County have never foreclosed on a house. And before the housing crash way back in 2006, whatever that was, 2008, Habitat had a less than 1% of foreclosures across the country. So that's 50 states, over 1,000 affiliates. It went a little higher after that, but still hovering right around a little over 1%, 2% of foreclosures. We want our families to be successful, and by setting them up for success, they want to stay in their house. They built that wall, they did that drywall, they did that framing, put in that window, and there's a lot of home ownership pride by them investing that sweat equity.
So,
um,
Colleen, you said that there were 38 homes that you guys have built in
mhm,
Clallam County. Is that right? And
yes.
so of those 38,
Mhm.
how many have transitioned to new owners?
Well,
4.
many of 4 were sold on the open market. So Habitat also has a first right of refusal to buy houses back, but we have to buy it back at fair market value if they're fully vested, and then we have to refurbish it. So if they've stayed in the house 20 years and raised a family, the house is going to be in a certain condition. With soaring house prices, first of all, do we have the cash on hand to buy it back? Secondly, whatever it costs to refurbish that house, are we able to do that and then still make it an affordable house for another family? So 4 have actually, of those 38, have been sold on the open market, that the Habitat affiliate was not able to enact that first right of refusal and keep it in the affordable housing realm.
Got it.
This
But
is
still,
30.
it's a success. Even if it does sell, that's still, a success.
A success for that family for sure. Yeah, they've earned
Yeah.
the equity in it and moved on to something else. This is HUD numbers, 30 to 60% of area median income. A lot of people will call us and say, how much do I have to make to qualify? How much is too much to qualify? These numbers are issued by HUD. I will say that about a year ago, our board voted and we raised our AMI qualifications to 80%, which was allowable by Habitat for Humanity International. So that's on the new construction side. On the repair side, we're really serving people closer to the 30 to 40% of area median income, the really low end that just don't have any other means or opportunities. So we're serving lots of families, but we're definitely pushing that higher limit on our new construction to qualify families.
Do
So
you
this is
build
kind of
any homes that are one bedroom or for, a single person, or are all of them generally 2 and 3 bedroom homes or
to
4?
my knowledge, we've never built a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. We've built a number of 2 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Okay, got
So
it.
this is kind of fun. You might recognize Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. Last October, I got to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. They do an annual build. Habitat does an annual build called the Carter Work Project, and there were 700 volunteers a day, 5 days a week. 27 homes were worked on, including Garth and Trisha worked on the home next to mine. And let me tell you, they worked. They were not window dressing. She was running that chop saw and he was roofing, and it was really fun to meet them. But the picture on the left is Nene. And Nene's house is the house that I got to work on all week. And she's a single mom. And she was just delightful and so grateful for us being out there and helping her. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, on Monday we had a foundation, Tuesday was wall raising, Wednesday we were rolling the trusses, and then nailing, that's me nailing hurricane ties. That was exciting. By hand, no nail guns. We had to do everything by hand. And then day 5, the house was all dried in with windows and doors, and Nene was that much closer to her dream of home ownership. The exciting thing is, I had the opportunity to sit with leadership at Habitat International, and I said, this is great. This has been probably one of the top experiences in my Habitat career, being here, celebrating this and building these houses. But how does a rural community get to do this? I mean, in Charlotte, they had 3 $1 million sponsors for this event. And I said, how can we transition this to the rural so that, rural communities can also participate? And so leadership listened, and we've had a couple of meetings. And for Carter Work Project 2025, which will be October of 2025, we are working on 100 affiliates, rural affiliates across the US, committing to do one more project, house repair, than they would normally do. And it'll be within that week, and we'll do a home dedication. Obviously, Garth and Trisha won't be at all 100 locations, but we're going to work on getting our own celebrities here and just really do a national campaign to raise the awareness of this wonderful project and the legacy of the Carters, which is amazing. And then also really support those rural affiliates. So we're negotiating with Habitat International, them bringing some money to the table to assist rural affiliates with this, and helping with fundraising through national sponsors. So more to come on that, but I'm pretty excited that I asked the question and it looks like things might be moving forward.
That's exciting, Colleen.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. So here locally, we have some really awesome sponsors. Interfor has donated the lumber, framing lumber for the last 8 houses. And Sunbonnet Sue makes a quilt for every person in the family. They bring it to the dedication. What are the ages of the kids? What are their likes and dislikes? They're really specific to the children. Grocery Outlet packs the pantry like I've never seen. And I don't mean they just pack the pantry, they pack the refrigerator and the laundry room and the bathroom, and really set the families up for coming into their homes. And they ask, are there any food allergies, anything in particular we need to know? Herman Brothers gives us topsoil for all of the homes, which is part of getting your certificate of occupancy that you have the yard ready and topsoiled and seed down. And then Angela's Millwork and Hartnagel are just a tremendous partner. I mentioned them with our workforce training, but in addition to the workforce training, they sell to us at a discount. Building materials that we need. And so they have just been a fabulous partner. And their CEO, Danny, is actually on our board. And that came after we partnered with them. So, what's next? Well, there's lots of exciting things happening. Currently in Port Angeles, we have 7 affordable housing units in the works. Yesterday, we celebrated a ribbon cutting for our Veterans Fourplex. It's on the corner of Fairmount and Hazel. We are so excited. We bought this blighted property from the city of Squim, had the house and structures that were on there removed. It's a double lot. We're going to fit a really nice fourplex. There'll be about 836 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. They're going to be all zero entry, zero barrier. Not necessarily that the veterans may be in a wheelchair now, but if they have mobility issues later, it'll be a walk-in shower, wider hallways, wider doorways, and just zero entry from the driveway into the house. So we are so excited. We got our building permit yesterday. So
Oh,
we are
good. That's
very,
great.
very excited that at the ribbon cutting, Calvin Goings and Shannon from the city showed up and brought us the building permit on site. And also, City of PA is waiving permit fees for multifamily affordable housing. So we didn't have to pay. There was a $0 sign on that building permit of anything owed. So we were very grateful for that and for them to
And
be there.
how much of a savings was that for you?
It's interesting. So I paid right around between 8 and 9,000 on single family. I don't know what it would have been on a multifamily, but when we were building over at Maloney Heights, our building permits were around 8 or $9,000.
Okay.
So the multifamily may have been more, but it was zero. So I
So
should find that out though.
I know Calvin's on. Calvin, would that have been maybe 63,000 or so? Is it 7 times 9,000? If we don't hear
Good
from him,
morning. Good morning, Colleen. Yes, great celebration yesterday. Really appreciate the partnership. I don't have the figures in front of me, but it would have been thousands and thousands and probably tens of thousands of dollars based on the number of units. And we're happy to waive all infill, ADU, duplex. About 25 different permits now are completely waived for 15 different housing types, including the ones Colleen's building.
that's great.
Yeah, really exciting.
Wonderful.
Also, a great partner that I didn't have on the other side is Jamestown Excavating, Jamestown Surveying, Jamestown Concrete. They've been a wonderful partner. We bought the lot next to this veterans lot. It was another blighted property, and we didn't want our veterans to have to come out their front door and look at that. And so we negotiated with the owner. We bought that piece of property, and then Jamestown came out and cleared it. It would have been $25,000. There were 3 structures, multiple vehicles, debris from decades, and they waived $11,000 of that $25,000 fee to clear that lot. So after the fourplex is built, we'll be starting another single family on that lot next to it, and our veterans will have something beautiful to look at instead of a blighted property. So this is that property, not the second one I was talking about, but the veterans property. That is actually the structure that was there. It was burned. It had been lived in somewhat. It was a mess. And then we wound up with this beautiful, clean spot to build a fourplex. Here, Ketchum Veteran Cottages. This is a look at the architect's drawings of what they're going to look like. Different roof lines, really lovely. We named them Ketchum Veteran Cottages. Sarah Ketchum has worked for Habitat for the store since before it opened. So she's been here a long time. Both of her grandfathers served in World War II. And we just wanted to really honor Sarah, her service, and her family. And so we're calling them Ketchum Veteran Cottages in honor of her family. And
Cool.
we are going to be opening home ownership applications for these cottages back up. We have had a little bit of a struggle getting people to apply and then qualify for these cottages. So we don't exactly have homeowners for them yet. So anybody that wants to know more about that or have me send them an application, I will put my info in the chat and you can say, hey, Colleen, send me an application. So we need, now that we're building and now that we have a permit, we absolutely need to have families that we can put in there.
So
So
a question that Pat had is why 2 bedrooms for veterans housing? Are most of the veterans married or have kids or?
it was just anticipating what could be either married or have grandchildren that visit or maybe have an office. So they're a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 836 square feet, modest little house.
Got it. Thanks.
So Squim, what's happening in Squim? So this is the 2 properties that we own, the Miller Road property that we bought in 2021. And then in August 2022, we purchased the 6.4 acres below. And even though we bought the below property after the first property, Miller is going to be really challenging because of the elevation. And so we decided to start with the cow pasture. So we're starting down lower to build down here. And this is a potential schematic of what the community will look like. This is 50 homes. We're going to do 10 fourplexes and 5 duplexes. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We partnered with City of Squim for a CHIP grant, which is connecting housing to infrastructure. And we asked for $2 million and we were awarded $2 million. That will cover all of the sewer infrastructure, sewer, electric, utilities, all of those kinds of things. So the grant actually went to the City of Squim. They are administering it. We will do the work, hire the contractors, and then submit the bills to them. And then also in this, they can waive our building permit fees, and then they are reimbursed through the CHIP grant. So wonderful partnership. I got to work with Marin and Megan, and it was stressful and fun writing the grant. And then when you get that email that you're awarded, it's absolutely amazing. So these homes could potentially, this is our concept, look like this. The fourplexes will be a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1-car garage. I don't know exactly where we're going to land on this design, but something like this is what we're shooting for. If there's any contractors, yes, I know that's terrible roof line for the Northwest. You don't have to put it in the chat. We will also have green space, a playground, and gathering places for the families in the community as well. We in 2022 or early 2023, we applied for a community funded project with Representative Kilmer's office. We asked for $2 million. And when all was said and done, 800,000 was written into the budget. And I have to go to classes to learn how to manage the grant and report on the grant. So technical assistance was not included in the grant, so that should be a nice new learning curve. We're very grateful, though, for the support. Also, First Fed came to us with $100,000 from their community foundation, and that helped us purchase the land. And the first money in was Jamestown's Clallam Tribe. Chairman Allen, we got $50,000 to help purchase the land. So
That's
we are
great.
very grateful to all of the community partners out there shaking the trees. This is our, not the greatest picture, didn't realize we were all in the shade, but still we were out at the Red Cedar Room out there in Blinn. Once a year, we do what's called a board advance because we don't retreat. And so this was our board advance. And um, these people are above and beyond volunteers. There's lots of ways that you can volunteer besides swinging a hammer. You can volunteer in the habitat stores. You can serve on a committee. There's lots of things that you can do. So check in with us if you're thinking you want to be involved, but you thought your only opportunity was to go out on a build site, and that doesn't necessarily float your boat. So
So Colleen,
what kind?
there is a
Yeah.
question in the chat. Since you
Uh-huh.
have all the grants, specifically federal grants, what about prevailing wage requirements for contractors?
So we use volunteers to build. So we pay our paid construction staff prevailing wage, and then we are able to, how do I say, work around that because we use volunteers for building the houses. The other thing that I did forget to mention was we are looking to partner with City Squim High School for their CTE program, which I know, Colleen, you were instrumental in getting the funding for that building. So my understanding from Ned Flater, who is the CTE director, career technology education at Squim High School, is the intention is to, in the 8th grade, introduce students to, a little bit of electrical, a little bit of plumbing, framing, all different aspects of construction and trades. And then when they get to high school, to the 9th grade, the intention is they will have a better idea or a better feel for, hey, I really liked electrical, or, framing and hammering was really my deal. So they'll start on the 4-year curriculum. And then on the juniors and seniors, 16 and 17-year-olds, will be able to come to the build site. It's less than a mile from the high school, as an actual living lab, for them to help build the habitat houses and really have hands-on learning. And for us, because we are a nonprofit, it's going to be a multi-year project. So we're not anticipating breaking ground to build houses until probably late 2025. Best case scenario, probably closer to 2026 before we're putting a shovel in the ground to build houses.
Yeah, that's
So,
great. That's
so
exciting to
yeah,
have that
call to
connection.
action. What
Yeah.
kind of nonprofit leader would I be if I didn't give you a call to action? Advocacy, which of course the EDC does beautifully with NOLA and all of the partners here in Clallam County. We need to remind them how important housing is, although it is at the top of everyone's list. Donate to the Habitat stores, either one. Shop at the Habitat stores. And then, of course, volunteering. We have a really interesting project coming up with First Federal. They're doing a Spirit Day, June 5th, next Wednesday. They're closing all the branches at noon, and they're a regional bank in 5 counties, and each of those 5 counties have a Habitat affiliate, and they are sending all of the staff out to work on Habitat projects across those 5 counties. So Whatcom, King, Kitsap, East Jefferson, and Clallam County
Great.
will be having First Fed people on site. Unfortunately, we are not going to be to the building part of the veterans build that we had hoped. And so they are, the volunteers are going to come out and we're going to build some playhouses, and then we're going to auction them off. And so we tried to just pivot, what are you going to do? You can't build a house, build a playhouse. So we're really, really excited about that partnership. We have a big event coming up. The first Monday in October is World Habitat Day, as designated by the United Nations, to bring awareness to the need for habitats around the world for people to have decent housing. And so that's going to be Monday, October 7th at 8 a.m. at Field Hall and Event Center. So with that, do I have any questions that I can answer for anybody? I might stop sharing.
There are 2 questions in the chat for you, Colleen. One is, do you still have the program with Peninsula College?
No, we did not go back to that after COVID, but I have crossed paths with Susie Ames and hoping to have more conversations with her about maybe getting back with the college as well.
Okay, great. And Darlene Shanfield asked, have you ever considered straw bale homes?
Some habitats are doing that. And I actually helped build 5 Acre School, which is a straw bale building. We have not considered that here with all of the new building, the WUI,
Yeah.
and
And
also,
energy
yeah,
code
and
requirements, the
energy
new ones.
codes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how practical straw bale would be for multifamily.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, the energy code requirements that just went into effect are really onerous when you look at it from a cost perspective.
Yes, they
So,
are.
yeah, it eliminates a lot of different types of building that used to be an option.
And I did mean to mention, I saw Michelle Pruden is on here. She joined our team last week. She is our family resource director, and we are thrilled to have her join us in that role. And I can just tell she's going to be killing it in a good way.
Great. Good, good.
Any other
So
questions?
you certainly have been busy, Colleen, and that's just terrific. We're lucky to have you leading Habitat for Humanity with your energy and your passion and your smarts. So thanks for all you do and what you do for your team as well. So we're so effective. Oh, good. Tim has a question.
Good morning, Colleen. How are you?
Good morning. Fine.
Great presentation. Hey, I have a quick question that I see like East Jefferson and King County and some of the other habitats are going above 80% of AMI. Are you looking at that and looking at lenders that can do up to 120 to where we can get workforce housing, a little higher,
So we are
working
under the
families?
tenant, we are under the tenant of Habitat International, and right now the ceiling is 80%. In Seattle, where they are going up to 120%, like I mentioned, they are asking for special waivers or dispensation to forego that 80%. So for now, we're holding at 80%, and we'll see where that takes us.
Is there letters that, community can write in support of, the rural communities that need workforce housing and good workforce housing, so they don't have to go broke and come back up per se?
Yeah, Habitat International is kind of its own machine. I'm not sure letters from the community would sway them one way or the other.
Okay.
But thanks.
No, yeah.
Roy, you have a question?
I do, and thanks for your presentation. Your enthusiasm is contagious. It's really great to see all that you've been doing, well, both nationally and here in this region. And as my wife and I've worked on habitat build, so I'm really we're kind of, as a family, we're an all-in habitat family. I guess the question is, I'm thinking of the example that you showed in Squim, which is really a multi-housing and sort of community, it's a bigger scale. And what I'm wondering is your approach, right? Or Habitat's approach, is it more opportunistic, or do you see the balance perhaps tipping more toward a duplex, fourplex, sort of larger scale multi-housing habitat solutions, to sort of address the need? What approach is Habitat taking vis-a-vis, kind of that, multi-housing versus the single family build approach?
So density, if we had
Right,
done that
density.
property, if we had done that property single family detached, maybe 22 homes, 50 is way better than 22 with the critical need that we have. More and more Habitat affiliates, rural and urban, we're becoming developers. There's only so many infill lots left, and there's only so many families that you're going to be able to help doing the onesie twosie infill lots. So really the density, we worked with City of Squim, and they did pass multifamily. And so we were thrilled to be able to offer 50 homes. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're still in conditional use permit review. But that is definitely our intention. It was all about density and how many families can we serve. On our other properties in Port Angeles, we'll still be doing single family detached because they're infill lots. Dale, did you have a question?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are there any open staffing positions at Habitat that you'd like to recruit from this group or let this group know about for recruiting?
Excellent. Yeah, so we are looking for a managing officer. This would be a senior leadership position. For lack of a better description, kind of my number two. I can't do this work forever. I would like to retire someday. And so that person would really be managing the grants, doing the required filings and reportings on the grants, also just learning the ropes of all things habitat. So that's really the biggest need. And then we're also looking to contract with a bookkeeper. And that would just probably be 8 to 12 hours a week for accounts payable and accounts receivable. And that would be a contract job, not a staff job. So any bookkeepers on here, I know the EDC just had a big push with Peninsula College. So we are looking for a bookkeeper. And then we're looking for a part-time customer service person in Squim. So 4 days a week. It's a little flexible. It could be 11 to 2, 10 to 1. We need to have 2 people in the store for safety all the time, 2 paid staff. And that would really cover lunches and kind of the busy time at the stores. So that's a part-time customer service position. Thanks, Dale.
Good reminder, Dale. That's awesome. All right. Does anyone else have any more questions for Colleen? All right. Well, that was an exceptional presentation, Colleen. We really appreciate you and your work and the impact that your organization provides to
Thank
our
you.
county. So thank you. Thank you. All
You're
right. With
welcome.
that, I think we'll call it a morning and let you guys have your last 5 minutes back. Enjoy your week.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.